Hello, Spooklings.
I'm Jason,
And I'm Kathy.
and we're the hosts of the weekly podcast, All Hallows Eve Podcast.
We are a husband and wife duo with a passion for anything spooky, macabre, and true crime, sprinkled with our own twist of comedy.
We explore topics such as the history of Halloween, the Butcher of Plainfield, Hocus Pocus 2, urban legends, superstitions, and more.
So come join us as we go down the rabbit hole that is All Hallows Eve Podcast.
Listen and follow us at allhallowsevepodcast.com or your favorite podcast provider.
Stay spooky, my friends.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 106 of Films and Fermentation. That's right. We are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're just three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. On this episode tonight, you voted, we listened, we're doing a recasting. And we are recasting the 80s horror classic, The Lost Boys, a film I recently discovered is in the process of being rebooted. So I think it's a good one to try to recast tonight. We did a vote on Twitter between 4 different films, and ultimately Lost Boys was the one that won out on the vote. So that is why we are recasting that film this evening.
And we lost.
Yeah, like, we were not too excited about this. This was a tough one to do, but we managed to get through it. So this is episode 106, recasting The Lost Boys. Don't forget, you can contact us at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. You can go to Teespring and buy our merchandise. Or if you'd like to support the show, you can sign up and support us at Patreon. Let me tell you real quickly about Buzzsprout. It's our new hosting platform. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partner. The team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. We use Buzzsprout, and it's been a game changer for us. If you want to upgrade, Buzzsprout has tons of guides to help you find the right equipment at the right price, and really great analytics letting you know how many people are following your show, where they're following it, how many downloads you have. It's just a great podcast platform. So follow the link on our show notes to buzzsprout.com and let them know that Films and Fermentation sent you. What are we drinking this evening, gentlemen? I know all 3 of us probably needed it tonight.
Needed it. I started at 5.
I'll go first. I originally was trying to do something themed. I was looking at like these vampire drinks and shit online, and I just didn't have it in me to do something mixed tonight. And I was really tired. I had a pretty busy week too, so I decided to go with my old standard for when I'm tired. So I made myself a cup of coffee, and I put a full like mini bar bottle of Irish cream in it. It's Ryan's Irish cream. It's not a name
Ryan's
brand
is
one.
good. No,
Yeah,
Ryan's is good.
Ryan's is pretty good. But I did try to theme it in some way. So the coffee that I'm drinking is from Green Mountain Coffee Company. It's a dark roast coffee called Dark Magic.
Dark magic.
I figured that at least gives it some like relation to the Lost Boys in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever wants to go next, feel free.
I'll do it.
Sure.
So I got home, looked at all my whiskeys, and went, I need to make something. So I got my little cards out from Old Smoky and saw one that said M&M. It is half pecan whiskey
Okay.
and half their Tennessee Mud cream liqueur and ice. That's
so
it.
So it's supposed to be like a pecan M&M kind of taste or something.
Yeah, it's a little nutty. Yeah,
A little nutty. It's a bit nutty.
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 Bit nutty.
But I've been drinking them since 5, so I'm in good shape.
Feeling good.
Nice.
Kevin, what are you doing tonight?
Well, I am actually recasting my beer. Okay? I am recasting my beer. It probably started off as a typical citrus ale of some sort, but then Neshaminy Creek went ahead and recasted it with Rita's mango. Rita's mango blonde ale with mango. A friend of Megan's stopped by. They wanted to see our new dog, and he brought this as a housewarming gift. It's a 5% alcohol by volume. It's as far as I know, limited, very, very limited in terms of where you can get it. He said he had a friend that had like 4 or 5 6-packs.
I actually saw it the other night. We went out with Gil and Debbie for Gil's birthday at a Mexican restaurant up here in not too far from us.
La Hacienda?
No, not that one. This one's a little further up. This is
Las Margaritas?
No, not there either. This is a little place, a little bar.
On the border?
No. No. It has a little beer place with it. And they have those Rita ones.
No, I'm not a fan of mango flavor or Rita's water ice, so I don't know if I would even want to try that beer. So,
well, it's an interesting beer, and I had one earlier. It was pretty good, but I figured I'll introduce it on the show. I have a follow-up beer, but if we're not getting to that anytime soon, I'll just hold.
Oh, well, I mean, you can introduce it now if you'd like. It's fine.
I'm going to introduce it now. It's from Upward Brewing Company. This is the Breadwinner IPA. And when I choose to consume this, I will be consuming another 5.5% alcohol by volume. It's an El Dorado ale.
I like that Base Camp one from Upward. Really that was pretty good.
Yeah, you can tell Kev's tired. He's going with the lighter beer.
The lighter beer, yeah. Well, he's got a dog to take care of now.
Yeah.
What did you end up naming her?
Molly. Yeah.
I said you should have named their podcast.
Your podcast. Here's my dog podcast.
Your podcast. Mike, anything historical happened today? It looks like it did.
This day in film history. This day in film history, in 1977, caper comedy film Smokey and the Bandit, starring Burt Reynolds, Sally Fields, and Jackie Gleason, premieres on Radio City Music Hall in New York. That's for you, Jason.
Yeah, it's a little shout out to Jason from All Hallows Eve, who was on our show last week. One of his film that time forgot was Smokey and the Bandit, and it just happened to be released today in 1977. That's pretty cool. I was also released in 1977. Although I was released much later.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm thinking about that.
I was released much later.
You know.
I wasn't released till October, so. I'll take the next one.
Okay.
In 1989, on this day, Do the Right Thing, directed by Spike Lee and starring Danny Aiello and Ossie Davis, premieres at the Cannes Film Festival.
Was critically acclaimed, wasn't it?
Critically acclaimed was it was the movie that pretty much lifted Spike Lee to like the superstar status. He had done a couple films before this, but this is his first like major hit. Yeah. Danny Aiello received an Oscar nomination for it. It was the only one in his career.
Oh wow!
And also had a very small cameo role from Samuel L. Jackson as the radio station host.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Kev, why don't you take the third one there?
Sure. In 1997, The Lost World: Jurassic Park, which was directed by Steven Spielberg and starred Jeff Goldblum and Julianne Moore, premiered in the U.S. and ruined the franchise.
Did it ruin the franchise, or did the third one ruin the franchise?
Jurassic Park should have stopped at Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Like Jurassic World should have stopped at Jurassic World?
Well, if he had stopped at Jurassic Park, you wouldn't have needed a Jurassic World.
That's right. If all them dinosaurs died of, a lysine deficiency, then we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. But the success of the movie and the friendship between Steven Spielberg and Michael Crichton kind of, I don't want to say forced Crichton's hand to write the sequel, but it definitely encouraged him to write the sequel, which he went back and he brought Malcolm back to life, and he wasn't alive at the end of the book of the first one. So
like he had to retcon it a little bit because I think it was Malcolm and Hammond both die in the original novel.
The first one,
yeah.
Hammond dies by compies, and Malcolm doesn't survive what happened to him. So, Yep, big disappointment.
Mike, why don't you take the next one there? We have a lot of history this week.
In 1999, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, directed by George Lucas, starring Ian McGregor, Natalie Portman, and Liam Neeson, is released in cinemas.
And ruins the franchise.
I guess it really ruined the franchise because it gave us Ewan McGregor.
It gave us Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. He was excellent. It gave us Jar Jar Binks, which was not so excellent. But I'll tell you
unless they come up and he's a Sith at some point, then it could be excellent.
with all the new material that Disney Plus has been releasing, like the Obi-Wan series and Andor and Tales of the Jedi and Rebels and all that stuff, I'm actually appreciating the original or the prequel trilogy a little bit more because I like how all those side stories are giving you some like depth to the main story, adding in things that were kind of like missing in between, and it's kind of made it a little more interesting for me.
That's what it really needed. It was all that in between shit.
Yeah, I needed to know what happened to Yaddle so I can really hate Dooku. In 2007, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Talk about a movie that didn't need sequels. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, directed by Gore Verbinski, starring Johnny Depp, Keira Knightley, and Orlando Bloom, premieres in Anaheim. It was the most expensive film made at the time, costing $300 million. Now, that was the third one, right?
At World's End, I thought
at World's End was the fourth one that came out.
No,
you're right. It was the third.
Curse of the Black Pearl was the first one. Dead Man's Chest was the second one.
And then World's End.
And then this one. And then you figured
this is where they had to sail off the end of the world to go get Johnny Depp back.
So there's one thing I like about this film. And it's the death scene of the one British character.
Oh, when he's walking
down the steps of the boat as the boat's like blowing up around him. I mean, that's a really cool scene, but it doesn't make up for the rest of the movie, which was just convoluted and.
I don't know. I kind of like seeing Keira Knightley as a pirate.
I kind of like seeing what's his name, Keith Richards as Johnny Depp's dad. That was pretty funny, but it was like I could see it as like the end of the trilogy. That's what it should have been, but then they decided to do like 2 more films after that or something. There was at least one more. There was the one with the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah.
And I think they either did a 5th one or they're supposed to do a 5th one or they're not sure about the 5th one after that whole Amber Heard trial shit. But yeah, like this is one I don't even know if you needed the sequels.
Wait, weren't there 2 sequels after At World's End? There was on Stranger Tides.
On Stranger Tides.
All right, and that was the Ponce de Leon one. And then wasn't there one with...
And then there was one with Javier Bardem, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, there was one with...
Which I don't even know the name of because I honestly stopped watching them after At World's End.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mike, I think you and I saw At World's End in the theater with Adrian and Katie.
Probably.
I think we did. So it's At World's End, On Stranger Tides, Dead Man's Chest, Dead Men Tell No Tales. That's the 5th one. That's the one that has Javier Bardem in it. Yeah.
Blackbeard. Right?
Yeah, I kind of like... when they brought Jeffrey Rush back in the second film, I was like, all right, we're going into weird territory now. I thought it was supposed to be about pirates, not about, pirates that can't die. Kev, why don't you take that last one there for us?
You got it. In 2007, the Coen Brothers film, No Country for Old Men, which was based on the Cormac McCarthy novel starring Tommy Lee Jones, Javier Bardem, and Josh Brolin, premieres at the Cannes Film Festival, also winning Best Picture in 2008, and gave everybody a new sense of killing people with the
with the cow gun.
cow gun.
When I first watched this movie, I was like, I really like Javier Bardem in it. Speaking of Javier Bardem, he was very chilling as the villain in the film. But I didn't really like the movie that much in general. And then I watched it again, and like on a second watching, I kind of appreciated it a little bit more. I thought it was a really good film. But it's mostly good because of Javier Bardem as the villain. And he actually, I think he won the Oscar for that, for Best Supporting Actor. So, as Anton Chigurh.
That's the same way I felt about Men Who Stare at Goats.
What's that?
Wasn't that another Coen Brothers movie? The
Men Who Stare at Goats? Coen Brothers did Fargo, No Country for Old Men. I can't think of like some of the other movies, but they're known for like those really quirky like crime movies. I don't think they did the Men Who Stare at Goats.
No.
No, I mean I've seen Men Who Stare at Goats. I'm probably one of the few people who has seen it multiple times. I actually like that movie. It's directed by I did. I actually kind of liked it. Directed by Grant Heslov and written by John Ronson and Peter Strawn. So it's not Coen Brothers.
Okay.
Coen Brothers have done
Burn After Reading might have been the one I was thinking of.
They did Burn After Reading, yeah. So they did Fargo, Tragedy of Macbeth, Hail Caesar, Inside, Llewellyn Davis, True Grit, Burn After Reading, No Country for Old Men, The Lady Killers, Intolerable Cruelty,
Raising Arizona,
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, The Big Lebowski, Fargo, Hudsucker Proxy, very underrated film. And their first movie was Blood Simple. So yeah, that's what they're mostly known for. Okay. That was a lot of history for one day. Right, Mike? You said this all happened today?
Yeah, it all happened today, yep.
That's amazing.
This long day
in history.
Oh, shit.
Do you have a beer or craft destination for us tonight, Mike?
I have a craft destination. This is in Idaho.
Idaho?
Idaho. This is Payette Brewing Company, 733 South Pioneer Street, Boise. Mike Francis left a corporate job as an industry engineer to found Payette Brewing Company in 2009. They began canning in 2012 and were the first craft brewery in Idaho to do so. Located along the Boise River in downtown Boise, Payette offers 20 beers on tap at its tap room, plus local wine and ciders and non-alcoholic options. Merchandise and beers to go. The brewery mezzanine offers a great view of the brewery production area. Just outside is a spacious beer garden with a fire pit, food truck fair, and a shady picnic area. Also a hop garden. It is also pet friendly, so you're good to go there, Kev.
All right. Well, that's why we bought her, so that we could socialize with other dog people at breweries.
No, I was going to say, you get her drunk, maybe we should be a little calmer.
She's really passive. She's just got to, hold her piss and shit.
All right. It's time for my favorite segment, the Synopsis According to Glip, brought to you by According to Glip. Brought to you by Newsly. Newsly's an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android that'll read the news to you in a natural human voice. Stop scrolling, start listening, and go to newsly.me today. Use the promo code ANDFERMENT and get a 1-month premium subscription. So this is something that I know Jason was really excited to hear, because this Glip Synopsis is all about our previous episode, Films That Time Forgot, which featured All Hallows Eve podcast with Jason and Kathy. So what we have here is actually a combined Glip, because we had two separate recordings that I had to put together. So this is the first night of recording and the night of recording that we did with Jason and Kathy. The speakers talked about drink segments, phone experiments, closing segments, email film implementation at teespring.com, local gathering places, and beer. They also discussed actual teaching certificates, Wrestling World episodes, the anniversary release of The Explorers, Dukes of Hazzard, big fans of the Queen movie, and memories of an older generation. Just when we thought Glip was getting better at telling us what the episode was about, it regresses just slightly enough in this episode.
What is the email film implementation at teespring.com?
So, drink segments and closing segments obviously are parts of the show. I don't know what phone experiments is from.
Neither do I.
Email film implementation at Teespring. That's all.
I do. I know what the phone experiment was.
What's that?
It was Kevin.
Oh, when you were fighting with your phone on the first night of recording.
Oh, that's right.
That was Kevin. Kevin in general was the phone experiment.
The email film implementation Teespring shit is the promo I do at the beginning. You know, drop us an email, films of rotation. I think it kind of put all that together. Local gathering places and beer, I think, is from your beer destination segment.
Probably.
Teaching certificates was something Kevin and I were talking about in pre-show.
Jason was also talking about getting his.
Yeah, he was getting his segment, his certificate too. Wrestling World was we were talking about the Austin Boyer episode about Chris Benoit that inspired their Chris Benoit episode on All Hallows.
Yep.
Anniversary release of the Explorers. The Explorers was the movie I first talked about in the first film that Time Forgot.
Yeah.
And it blended it together with the anniversary release of House of a Thousand Corpses. Because Jason joked about buying us the Criterion DVD.
Yes.
Dukes of Hazzard, we were talking about how we were all fans of that show growing up.
Oh.
Big fans of the Queen movie is obviously when you were talking about Highlander. And memories of the older generation is probably when I started singing the theme song from All in the Family. Songs that made the hit parade. Guys like us we hadn't made. Those were the days. Totally unrelated, but today when I was driving into school, I was driving with the windows down because it was a really nice morning, and I was blasting Frank Sinatra from my radio and singing along with it as I was driving into the parking lot. And one of the teachers came to me and she popped in my office in the morning, and she was like, "Were you singing Frank Sinatra on the way in?" And I was like, "Yeah, probably." She goes, "Sounded really good. I couldn't tell if it was you or Frank." Well, thank you. I take that as a compliment. So before we get into the main portion of the show tonight, I have a little hypothetical question for you. I saw this on Twitter the other day. What's a movie you loved to watch as a kid that actually wasn't a kid's movie? And there were a lot of movies that I thought about that I watched as a kid that I probably shouldn't be watching.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, the first movie that popped into my head was Police Academy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was 7 or 8 years old when that movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching it a lot because there's enough, like, hijinks
It was
in
all
it.
over like HBO and Cinemax and all those.
Yeah, but it was like enough like hijinks in it and like goofy comedy to appeal to a 7 and 8 year old. But at the same time, there was enough titties in it that I probably shouldn't have been watching it.
Yeah,
a lot of adult themes in that movie. Things that probably wouldn't happen in movies nowadays in that film.
No.
Actually, I could tell you something that wasn't a movie that I probably should have been watching when I was a kid. Bugs Bunny.
Why were you like trying to run into walls that somebody painted a big black hole on?
No, but the adult comedy was definitely in there.
Dressing up like a lady and coercing somebody else, some hunter, some random hunter.
Here, Mike,
You got
speaking
Pepe Le Pew trying to rape some cat.
Yeah, talking about Elmer Fudd. I did.
Speaking of the Looney Tunes, Mike, you were just mentioning Pepe Le Pew, who has been canceled by the Me Too movement. I was playing Madden last night, and I was drafting rookies for my team, and one of the guys I drafted, his name was Pepe Lemieux.
Lemieux.
Lemieux. I was like, what? How did that happen? I thought of some other ones, though, too, that I watched as a kid a lot that I probably shouldn't have been watching.
Terminator,
Predator, RoboCop.
Oh, yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds. Watch Revenge of the Nerds a lot. Dr. Detroit with Dan Aykroyd.
Porky's.
Mm-hmm.
Porky's
was one I wasn't allowed to watch as a kid. There was enough going on in that one that I will say I did talk to my parents and had taken me to movies to see Weird Science.
Oh,
And
nice.
they were a little taken back by that when the film was over.
Okay, not Porky's, but how about Meatballs?
Meatballs. Not as bad as Porky's, but probably still a film. Shouldn't have been watching it like 7 years old.
I would say a movie that I loved watching as a kid. Actually, not a kid's movie. Is probably the Never-Ending Story. Because all the death.
Well, we had talked about that before. Like, there's all these like movies from the '80s that were considered kids' films, and when you think about it, they were like traumatizing.
Right.
And so, like, I would definitely put Never-Ending Story in there. I would put Dark Crystal in
Secret
there.
of Nim.
Come on, that made it tough.
Watership Down, I would put in there.
That made it tough.
Secrets of Nim, I would definitely put in there. Yeah.
We're not squeamish like the kids are today.
Black Cauldron. I said even like Helter Skelter, Jesus Christ. Even I said something like Ghostbusters probably wasn't 7-year-old appropriate, but I saw it plenty of times when I was like 7 and 8 years old.
Yeah.
Daddy, is that a ghost blowjob he's getting?
Look. It's a kid's movie if they made toys out of it. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
So Terminator,
Ghostbusters, Rambo had toy line. Rambo had a Saturday morning cartoon.
So Beverly Hills Cop would be on the other side.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop would not be a kid's movie.
Police Academy.
Had toys. They had a cartoon
its own
too.
cartoon.
So did it was Police Academy, RoboCop, Rambo, Police Academy, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They all had toys and Saturday morning cartoons.
Yep.
So therefore, it was okay. They just didn't do any action figures of Dan Aykroyd's ghost blowjob.
Real levitating bed. Watch his eyes cross.
We'll be right back after this short break with our main segment, Recasting the Lost Boys.
Hello, everybody. Let me ask you a question. When you were a kid, did you ever wonder what teachers talked about in the teacher's lounge?
You probably didn't miss much. It's usually boring stuff like grading papers, lesson planning, and then figuring out the new train schedule.
Train schedule?
Well, I teach in the city.
But sometimes, at one of the not-so-cool tables in the back of the teacher's lounge, you might find us, the Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night.
My name is Mr. Richardson, and by day, Mr. McDonald, Mr. G, and I teach and inspire America's youth.
But by night, we debate, discuss, and argue about all things in the pop culture universe on our podcast.
We discuss all the biggest pop culture topics in the world, like Ozark, Stranger Things, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Marvel, Star Wars, Top Gun Maverick, The Old Man, Bridgerton, you name it, we'll probably discuss it.
You guys watch Bridgerton?
Yo, season 1 of Bridgerton was awesome. You don't know what you're missing. Since we are teachers, you will always get a ton of background information about our topics and original teacher-themed segments, like our pop culture morning announcements, building meetings, and post-observation reviews of shows and movies. Oh, and arguing. You'll get lots of disagreements and arguing, like way more than I'm comfortable with.
You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search for The Fandalorians, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night.
Then join us every Monday as we look into the current state of fandom and pop culture.
Hey, look, the bell's about to ring. We need to head to the buses. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Well, I mean, they're not going to see us because this is a podcast.
I know.
But they can't even see us when you think about it, so they won't see us either.
Oh my God, you know what I meant. It wasn't literal. Just ring the bell. Ring the bell.
The Fandalorians, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night. I hope you listen and subscribe to us soon.
I hate you guys.
Moving on to beer number 2.
All right. We're back from our short break with our main segment. Tonight is Recasting the Lost Boys. And as I said, this is the film that you chose for us. So thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I appreciate all the hard work I had to do for it.
So Kevin and Mike both had to do some hard work. I actually found this the easiest recasting I've ever done. and that's saying something. So the characters that we were recasting for this film, going back to the 1987, was it 87 the first one came out? Yeah, 1987 Lost Boys, starred Jason Patric as Michael. Michael is the main character, the teen turned vampire. Corey Haim as Sam. He's Michael's younger brother who's trying to save Michael from being turned into a vampire. Keith Sutherland as David, the main member of the troop of vampires that Michael falls in line with. Ed Herman as Max, who is revealed at the end of the film to be the head of the vampire clan. Diana Wiest as Lucy, Sam and Michael's mom, who is dating Max, and we find out why at the end of the film. Jamie Gertz as Star, Michael's love interest and another victim of the vampires. Corey Feldman and Jameson Newlander as the Frog Brothers, would-be vampire hunters. And Bernard Hughes as Grandpa, father to Lucy, grandfather to Michael and Sam. He has that great scene at the end of the film where he comes in after all the carnage is done, walks over to the fridge, pulls a beer out, turns around, looks at the family, and goes, "That's the one thing I hate about living in Santa Clara. All the goddamn vampires." It's one of the greatest final scenes, I think, in any film. I avoided all the other members of the little vampire clan because I'm like, that's just general actors. You can do anybody for that. And the little kid that was Star's younger brother, I kind of avoided that because I thought like that's such a young actor that would be really tough to do. So I stick mainly with like the characters that I figured were like the main characters.
That worked. That was enough.
So let's start then first with Jason Patric's character, Michael, the main protagonist of the film, the teen turned vampire, and take a look at who we decided to go with for our recasting. Anybody want to volunteer to go first, or should I?
I'll go.
All right, go ahead.
I have Timothy Chalamet.
I also have Timothy Chalamet.
Interesting.
I also have Timothy Chalamet. So,
Hey.
tell me why you chose him. I'll tell you why I chose him.
Number one, I think he looked the part a lot, and just reading through his credits and everything he's done, he seemed to be a more accomplished actor than some of the other ones that came up that were close to it. And of course, he was in Dune.
Yeah, I looked at it in a similar way. Like he's got a really good resume. He's like the hot item right now, and I thought he looked closer to the age that the character's supposed to be.
Yeah,
like the actors in the '80s film, as great as the film is, and as great as the actors were in it, it was one of those '80s things where you have like 30-year-olds playing somebody who's supposed to be 18.
Well, you do know he's like 28,
but he doesn't look 28.
Yeah.
So I tried to cast actors who looked closer to the age of the character.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do too.
So like even though Timothy Chalamet is in his later 20s, he still looks young enough. He's playing Paul Atreides in the Dune film. Paul Atreides is only like 16 years old. But he pulls it off because he looks younger.
And once I got him, I played off his age with all the rest of my actors from there.
Yeah, I tried to do something similar to that. So, Kev, who did you have then for the Michael character?
So, for Michael, I actually chose Joe Keery from
Steve Harrington.
Things. Yes.
All right.
I thought he'd make a, just based off of the character of Steve, I guess, and what I've seen in Free Guy, I thought, he could probably pull that character off pretty well.
I like that choice.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Mike.
I contemplated him for a few minutes as David.
Oh, as the Kiefer Sutherland character. Huh.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I found someone else.
I like the idea of him as Michael too, because I think he'll bring a little bit of humor to the character that it lacked with Jason Patric in the role.
Right, he was just too broody.
He's very broody, and he's kind of like that in most of the roles that he plays.
Right.
But no, I like the choice. That's a cool one.
I did have Timothy Chalamet for a different character, but
okay,
I'll save that till when we get to that character.
Okay.
Mike and me had Timothy Chalamet, and Kevin had Joe Keery. I'm keeping a track of this because I'm going to put our picks on Twitter and see have the Twitter audience vote on who had the best lineup. See what that says. See what they say. So should we go to Sam then?
Yep, let's just go down the list.
All right, so we'll go down the list then. So Sam, who is Michael's younger brother, played by Corey Haim in the original film. I'll go first on this one.
Okay.
I went with Roman Griffin Davis, who is probably best known as Jojo Rabbit.
You know?
Oh, okay.
He is 16 years old now, as of the filming of this episode.
Mhm.
So he'd be closer to the age that Corey Haim was when he played the character in 1987. But he also looks a little bit younger too, so I figured he would look believable as the younger brother to Timothy Chalamet without looking like he's too young. Plus,
Right.
he's another one I think could bring a little bit of humor to the character, and I loved him in Jojo Rabbit. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even think about him.
So,
Yeah.
Lee,
Mhm.
are we copying off each other's paper here?
Did you pick Jojo Rabbit too?
I did.
That's I cheated a little bit because I looked up actors under a certain age, and he was on the list.
Oh,
and was
I
like,
did a lot of
that's
that.
it.
Don't worry. I did a
Mhm.
lot of that.
So Mike and I both have the same two people for the first two picks. It's gonna make it hard to vote between the two of us.
Oh.
Hopefully, we have some different ones in the later list here.
Oh.
So why did you choose him?
Again, we went through his resume.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed like the right age, and pretty much it. He had the
Mhm.
look, and he's the right age, and he's been around bigger stars too,
Yeah,
which would help him with this one. I thought.
that'd be cool. Yeah. If you and I end up having the same one on one of the later ones, I do have like some backup ones I might go with, so we'll see. So, Kev, who'd you have then for the same character?
So I went in a different Taika Waititi direction. I'm sorry, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher this kid's name once I find it. Because I don't think I remember.
Did you choose the New Zealand kid?
Yes. Yes. I thought he would be great. Watching him with the Wilder people.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Wilder people. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also good in Deadpool too.
Yes. I just
Okay,
I thought he'd be.
so I can see what he looks like.
I'm sorry, I'm giving it to you in just a second. Julian Dennison.
Yes, Julian Dennison.
Mhm.
He was in Deadpool 2. He was the fire
Mhm.
starter guy.
Was he? He was also in Kong, wasn't he? He was in Godzilla versus Kong.
Was
And
he?
he
I
had
didn't
the
see
same-
that, so
yeah.
I'm not sure. But
Yeah, no, it was in that he kind of had the same thing, playing with Millie. What's her name?
Bobby
Millie
Brown.
Bobby. Yeah,
Mhm.
Millie Bobby Brown. So.
all right, it's interesting. Joe Keery and Julian Dennison. I guess they had different dads. So then that brings us to, this should be a fun one. This should be interesting. Kiefer Sutherland's character, David, who was the leader of the gang of vampires that try to bring Michael into their folds. So I went first. Mike went
I'll
first.
go
Kev,
first.
Kev, why don't you go first on this one?
This is Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet as David.
Yeah. This is who I think he can be very suave, very, he's not, I guess maybe even reimagining the movie a bit, he's a leader, but he's not super, super aggressive.
Yeah, like Kiefer Sutherland was chewing up the scenery with his fake fangs. I see Chalamet would be a little more like reserved, maybe like sort of like threatening in how calm he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like a calm before the
I don't
storm.
want to say I'm not saying Lestat, but who was the other one in Interview with the Vampire that was really
the Brad Pitt character?
yes.
Yeah.
Louis.
Louis?
Mm-hmm. maybe a little more reserved like him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I would see, like, if he played it like a Lestat type of character, it's still less aggressive than
It's
the
still
Kiefer
less
Sutherland
than
character.
Kiefer Sutherland, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think you need to be more aggressive. That character needs to be more aggressive because the real leader isn't aggressive at all.
Because he's hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. So I went with
Okay.
Austin Butler.
Elvis.
Elvis.
Wow.
Will Almsford from the Shannara Chronicles.
Mm,
Yes, that's who I went with.
that's an interesting
Both for
choice.
the look and to his resume and the look, kind of, because I think he could do that.
Well, I'll tell you
Dark
what, man, because seeing him in the Elvis movie, like, he was the best part of the film because he did an amazing Elvis, and he's a very good-looking kid. But I saw that recent trailer for Dune Part 2 with him playing Fade Rutha,
Yeah,
the bald
I kinda
head
saw
and
it.
the white skin, and I'm like, fuck, I'm so excited to see him in that role now. and that kind of sells me on him playing this character too, because if he could play a character as evil as the Harkonnen character from Dune, then he can definitely do this role. I decided to go with some diversity casting in this role. I decided to choose an actor that I thought would be interesting in this part because I've never really seen him play a villain yet, but he has been in some movies where he's impressed me with his acting skills, minus the Star Wars films. John Boyega, who played Finn in the recent Star Wars trilogy. But I saw him. His first film was a movie called Attack the Block, where he plays the leader of a gang in London, and they fight these aliens that are invading the country or something in the film. And he was really, really good in that movie, and he was really good in some other films that I've seen because he's done some like smaller, like indie type films recently. And he's shown me that he's a really good actor outside of the Star Wars franchise, and I'd like to see him play a villain role. And then it also gives me a little diversity in my cast.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that'd be interesting. Let's see here.
That would be my turn to go ahead.
Ed Herman as Max, who in the film, the original film, was dating Diane Weist's character and turns out to be the leader of the vampires at the end because he was just looking for a mother for his boys, his lost boys. The Ed Herman Max was awesome. Like that reveal was great, and he was really over the top with it, but it's enjoyable. So, Mike, you're going first on this one?
Yep.
Go ahead.
So I went with someone that would be just as the reveal would just be as shocking if you never saw it before. I went with Colin Firth.
Colin Firth, that's an interesting one.
Yeah,
I could see that. He fits the role. He's kind of the age I think Ed Herman would have been at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's such
he's a great actor.
He's a great actor. He's such a reserved actor too. That would be a cool turn at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you know it's coming, having seen the original one, it's still kind of cool.
Exactly.
I like that one. Colin Firth, that's a good one. Kev, who do you have?
He was the first person I got for the whole list.
That's funny. Kev, who you got for this?
Well, all right. I had fun with this because I really wanted to be diverse with who we had, and I just loved this guy because I enjoy every movie he's in. I thought Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
that is interesting. That's funny. I think Paul Rudd.
He's old enough. He just doesn't look old enough.
Yeah, Paul Rudd. Oh, he's already a vampire, so that's a good one because he would bring some like levity to the role, and he's such like a Hollywood nice guy that you don't expect him to be the villain at the end. That's kind of funny.
Like I could just see him ripping it, just yeah. Didn't you know?
I just need a mother for my boys. You know how I know you're a vampire?
You know how I know you're gay? You sucked his blood.
Yeah. I went like Mike. I went in the British route, and I went with somebody who was known for being a really nice guy in some of the characters he played, but recently showed us that he can be diabolical as well in House of the Dragon. I went with Matt Smith.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He is currently in the age range that would fit the character. He's got a very brooding look that he's been working on lately with films like Last Night in Soho and House of the Dragon and all that. So I think it'd be an interesting role for him. He was a vampire in Morbius too. Not that anybody saw that film. I did have a backup for this one though, just in case Mike had the same one I had again. My backup for this was Sam Rockwell, who I thought would also be a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But if I had to take my pick, I'm going with Matt Smith. So the next one then is Diana Wiest as Lucy, Sam and Michael's mom, who is dating the Max character.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm first on this one, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I went the route of she's currently falling into the role of mom in a lot of her latest movies, or at least like that parental figure. So I went with Marissa Tomei.
Oh, shit.
That who you got?
That's what I got.
My wife did not like that pick.
Her work is Aunt May.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I considered her. I really did consider her for that role.
My wife didn't like the pick, but I think she had like My Cousin Vinny in her mind, and I'm like, no, like she's currently become the parental figure in a lot of the movies that she plays. So
she's a hot mom.
She's a hot mom, but it works for me. But she's really she was. I liked her as Aunt May, even though she was such a young actress at the time to be playing her. But I thought she was good, and I thought that she's at the age now that Diana Wiest was in the original film. So. And I think it'd be believable that, Timothée Chalamet and Roman Griffin Davis are her kids, for my lineup at least. So Kev and I had the same one for this one. And Mike, who did you have?
I went a little older than that. I went with Michelle Pfeiffer.
We all have this thing with Michelle Pfeiffer, man.
But I think I'm just thinking her age with Colin Firth would have been a good comparison age, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like the way you have your lineup set up, it works. Like my lineup, Matt Smith is a little
younger,
probably about 20 years younger than Michelle Pfeiffer at this point. But no, I like. I'm never going to say I hate a Michelle Pfeiffer choice. Even at 60-something years old, she's still Michelle Pfeiffer.
She's still Michelle Pfeiffer.
Another one I thought of, but I also thought she was probably a little older than Matt Smith now at this point was Diane Lane.
Yeah.
Because
you have to have the right age for the Max character.
Yeah, to match the Lucy character.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So Kev, you'll go first on the next one then, which was Jamie Gertz as Star, which was Michael's love interest in the original film.
Yes, Leo, you're gonna love this one.
Mm-hmm.
Ana de Armas.
Yes. I am mad at myself for not thinking of that myself. Oh my God!
Talk about seductress.
I don't know.
Talk about
Leo may love mine just as well.
All right, what's yours?
Carmen Baikonidova.
Oh, the girl that played Catwoman in the Gotham series.
Gotham. Yep.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's a good one. But if I had my choice between her and Ana de Armas, I'm going to go with Ana de Armas.
Yeah,
dude, I saw recently. You've seen Yesterday, right? You guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw enough of it that went.
So recently, I found there's a deleted scene from Yesterday with Ana de Armas in it. And so the character who, is pretending that he wrote all these Beatles songs is on the James Corden Late Show. And Ana de Armas is on there as playing a different celebrity than who she actually is, but she's like the celebrity guest. And James Corden challenges him on the spot to write something, like right there, and sing it to Ana de Armas's character. And he goes, so you want me to just come up with something? He goes, yeah, just something right on the spot. Just something. Look at her, get out your guitar and just sing something. And so he turns to her with the guitar and starts going, something in the way you move. So that's like the song that he comes up with at the moment. And she has to play it like as he's singing the song to her, she's like falling in love with him. And it's no dialogue, it's just her facial expressions. And I'm watching it going, God damn it, I'm falling in love all over again now. she sells it so well in that scene. And they had to cut the scene out because people who were previewing the movie couldn't understand why he wanted to go back with the other girl after Ana de Armas. Fell in love with him in that scene.
Well,
But yeah, I'll take it. I'll take that as a choice. My choice, actually, I originally was looking at Jenna Ortega because she's like the hot ticket right now. But I'm like, nah, she's been in too many things like recently, like that are kind of similar in vein. So I went with an actress who I knew already had the chemistry with Timothée Chalamet because she also is in Dune. So I went with Zendaya.
Yep.
Wow, yeah. See that?
Because I think she looks fairly similar to what the character, originally looked like. I mean, she's beautiful. She's a great actress. And she does have some genuine chemistry with him in the Dune film. So I thought, why not pair them up again? So I had Zendaya. Kev had the love of my life, and Mike had Carmen Bicondova, right? I think her name is.
Cameron
Bicondova. So the next one then is Corey Feldman and Jameson Newlander, who played the Frog Brothers. They are the comic book store owners, would-be vampire hunters who help Corey Haim's character defeat the vampire gang at the end of the film. So I think, Mike, we're back to you now, right?
We are. This one was difficult, but I went with Gatton Matarazzo.
Dude!
Gatton Matarazzo from Stranger Things.
Yep. And Aiden Gallagher.
And who's Aiden Gallagher?
5.
Oh, from Umbrella Academy.
Umbrella Academy.
I like that. That's a
good
cool
call
one.
on that.
That's
one,
a good.
yeah.
I like that one. Yeah.
That's a good call. I didn't think about him. We did have the similar, train of thought with. I also picked Gatton Matarazzo.
Gatton just reminded me of Corey Haim. Not Corey Haim.
Corey
Feldman. Yeah.
I think he has the enthusiasm for the role, which is why it's a straight flush because I picked him too.
Oh wow!
So I have Gatton Matarazzo as well, but I don't have. Who's the other guy you said he had? Mike Aiden. What's his last name?
Gallagher.
Aiden Gallagher, who was 5 in Umbrella Academy.
Yep.
I have Gatton Matarazzo and Joe Keery, both from Stranger Things, because they already have that like older brother, younger brother
chemistry
going for them. They're funny together, and I think they would play the would-be vampire hunter thing pretty well.
Which one is this from Stranger Things?
Steve Harrington.
Steve Harrington.
Steve.
The one that's like his like adopted older brother, basically.
Yeah. I went with Barry Keoghan. Yeah.
Oh, Barry Keoghan.
The
one that plays
the one that plays in the Eternals and
he's in Banshees of Inisherin.
He's the
I see
cutout Joker from
the Joker from the Batman film.
Yeah.
Barry Keoghan.
Yeah.
So Barry Keoghan, and you also had. It's funny that we all had Gatton Matarazzo.
Yeah.
They were all thinking the same way on that one.
Now, I considered sticking straight with Stranger Things and going with what was it? What was his name?
One of the other kids.
Yeah, but the one that's always with Gatton, Caleb McLaughlin.
Yeah, Caleb McLaughlin.
Lucas.
Yeah. They
Because
both done Broadway together. Yeah.
Well, they're the two that are always together in Stranger Things too. They're
It's kind of funny though because he's black, so it would be like the white kid and the black kid, but they're brothers.
Yes.
You
Brothers from different mothers.
always be like, "Oh, he's adopted," but you don't know which one's talking about who.
I also thought of Charlie Heaton for Keith for David, but I'm like, that's too many Stranger Things.
Yeah, we can't. It'd be like, let's just get the Stranger Things cast and put them in the Lost Boys. Millie Bobby Brown can be the star character.
Yeah, I
Because
stayed away from
I thought about Winona Ryder too, and I was like, no, yeah, it's too many Stranger Things characters. Because you could have also went with like what's his face, Hopper as Max. That brings us to the last character, which is he was a minor character, but I thought he was fun enough that we had to have somebody play him, and that's Bernard Hughes, who played the grandfather, who was father to Lucy, grandfather to Michael and Sam, who apparently knew about the vampires all along, but never said anything till the very end of the film. So who turns it to go first now?
yours.
Mine? Okay, so I had two people in mind, one that I thought would be funny, but just really didn't fit the role. So I went with my second choice, which is Christopher Lloyd. Doc Brown.
Interesting.
He
Yeah.
is definitely old enough to be the grandfather now. And I think he's curmudgeonly enough to pull off the role.
Kev?
So,
Okay, I see it.
Kev, who do you have?
Harrison Ford.
See, boys, you missed it. You missed the mark, both of you.
Harrison Ford. That's awesome. That's
You
funny.
both missed the mark.
Why? Who do you have?
Because I went with something to go back to the homage to the original film.
Mhm.
I went Donald Sutherland.
Donald
I thought you were gonna say-
Sutherland.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland could pull it off.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's an homage to the original film.
Mhm.
Yeah. Although, yeah, you gotta just bring Kiefer back as Max. That would be funny. I thought of between Christopher Lloyd. I also thought of Mel Brooks, but I was like, I don't know. Mel Brooks is I don't know. His comedy is it would have been too vaudeville for it. I thought.
Mhm.
Yeah, the one thing I heard about Santa Clara, all that damn vampires. But I thought
We
Christopher.
got vampires.
Vampires.
We got vampires. Here we go. Slay them. Stick a stake in their heart.
Well, he also did that already. He played the Van Helsing character in Dracula Dead and Loving It. So you got Christopher Lloyd now. One thing I heard about Santa Clara. Damn vampires.
Vampires.
Right, you see, with mine, you get vampires. Why did it have to be vampires?
It had to be vampires. He got a 5-minute standing ovation at the end of the premiere of Indiana Jones 5 at the Cannes Film Festival this weekend.
Oh, did he?
And he was like visibly touched and crying and waving to the crowd, which was not a usual Harrison Ford reaction. So it was kind of neat to see it.
Yeah.
But I like.
I hear it's much better. This is a good send off. It's the way to end it.
It's a send off, and they're building up Phoebe Waller-Bridge as his like heir apparent. If they decide to do another film, she's going to carry on the legacy.
Nice.
Okay.
She plays his goddaughter in the film. So
That's what she plays.
yeah. So I like our lineup. I like how close all of us were to certain picks. Like
Well,
3 for
We
3
all
on
had,
Gaten
what,
Matarazzo.
Yeah.
well, he just seemed the right person. So he's a little old, I think, but he seemed the right person for that role.
So like
For the Corey Feldman role.
we started off with a little Mike and I started off like we were gonna have the same thing the whole way through, but managed to change it up a little bit. So Jason Patrick's character Michael, Mike and I both had Timothy Chalamet, and Kevin had Joe Keery. Sam, the Corey Haim character, I had Roman Griffin Davis, as did Mike. Kevin had Julian Dennison. Kiefer Sutherland's character of David, I had John Boyega. Kevin had Timothy Chalamet, and Mike had Austin Butler. Ed Herman, the Max character, I had Matt Smith. Mike had Colin Firth, and Kevin had Paul Rudd. That one really cracked me up. Diane Wiest, Lucy. I had Marissa Tomei. Kevin also had Marissa Tomei, and Mike had Michelle Pfeiffer. The star character, the love interest character. Kevin had Ana de Armas. Mike had Carmen Bicondova, and I had Zendaya. Corey Feldman, Jameson Newlander character, the Frog Brothers, the would-be vampire hunters. All three of us had Gaten Matarazzo. But I had Joe Keery as well. Mike had Aidan Gallagher, and Kevin had Barry Keoghan. Mm-hmm. And then for Bernard Hughes' character, Grandpa, I had Christopher Lloyd, Kevin had Harrison Ford, and Mike had Donald Sutherland, in a nod back to the original film. So I actually think we did a pretty good job with this, despite how difficult it was.
Mm-hmm. 2 days of research.
A lot of research. Yeah, we had to do some work on this episode. But I think it came out pretty well. Mike, do you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening?
I have some beer trivia for you, boys. Cream ale does not contain any dairy or milk, sugar. Excuse me. It is an American style, first crafted in the mid-1800s as an answer to pale lager beers, but fermented with ale yeast. These beers usually incorporate a small amount of corn or rice to lighten the body, and most go through a period of cold conditioning to smooth out their light, slightly sweet flavors. Perhaps the best modern example is New Glarus Spotted Cow.
All right. So speaking of drinks, how did our drinks go this evening?
Tasty.
They went down quickly, and they were delicious.
I don't ever find myself disappointed by coffee with Irish cream in it. So, although I feel like I probably should have laid off the coffee now because now I feel a little wired. Thank God it's Friday night that we're recording this and not the usual Thursday. Yeah, that's what I said. It was a good night for this because we can let loose a little bit.
I appreciate you guys making the accommodation for me.
No, not a problem.
Megan does too.
We're gonna have to do it for me at some point because I think Thursday, June 1st, I have something going on, so we might have to rearrange that week. So
okay.
So thank you for joining us tonight for episode 106, Recasting the Lost Boys. You made us work on this one, guys, so we hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget, you can drop us a line at filmsoffermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsoffermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. I am going to be posting a poll on Twitter asking you to vote on who do you think had the best lineup for tonight's recasting show. And we'll talk about that next episode. So don't forget to stop by the Crossroads Stream Pickled and Fermented next time for episode 107. Episode 107 is going to be a little retrospective review of the Netflix series, The Films That Made Us, the movies that made us. We're going to talk about the movies that they discussed on that 3-season documentary series and what those movies, mean to us. And do we think that they are films that kind of made us who we are today and influenced our movie, habits and things like that. So we're going to be discussing the movies that made us, the Netflix documentary series. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Cheers, everybody, and avoid all those damn vampires.
Cheers.
I came up with with an idea for something that I don't know if this is something that would be a whole episode or just like a fun thing to do on an episode at some point. I heard them talking about this on some other show today, that movies with a PG-13 rating, according to the MPAA, they're allowed to have one use of the word fuck in their movies.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be one time only or they lose the PG-13 rating. So I thought it would be fun to think of movies that are PG-13 that don't have a word in there and try to decide where we would put the word into that movie.
Right.
So the example example I came up with was from Return of the King, when Eowyn is fighting the ring race, and he's like, "No man alive can kill me," and she's like, "I'm no man," and she goes, I'm no fucking man.
I'm no fucking man.
Or I also thought of Revenge of the Sith. What the hell was that?
Oh shit! What the?
Sorry.
I also thought of like Princess Bride. It could be like give us the gate key. I have no gate key. Fezzik, rip his fucking arms off. So I don't know if that's something that...
Did they have a chance? That'd take a fucking miracle.
Yeah. I want my father back, you fucking son of a bitch. Is this a fucking kissing book?
Yeah, I think that's a little over the top there.
As you fucking wish.
As you fucking wish. Who's the fucking sickie? So, like, I thought that, I don't know if that's something that would carry a whole show or if that's just like a fun segment to do. I feel like if we got carried away with it enough, it would carry a whole show.
It could carry a whole show. We could do a whole fucking show with it.
I could just come up with like a list of
3 movies.
Yeah, I just come up with like a list of PG-13 films, and then we roll through them.
Never fucking in
you know who was talking about it that made me come up and think of it was the guys that played Merry and Pippin in the Lord of the Rings.
Yes, I saw that video clip.
It's Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan. They have their own podcast.
Okay.
And they were talking about that on the podcast, and they were picking out lines from the Lord of the Rings that they would add the F word to. And the one that played Took was like, well, I like that scene where I knocked the skeleton down the well. Gandalf can turn around and go, fucking fool of a took.
You shall not fucking pass.
So I'm going to add that to the show. That's one to think about for later.
Okay.
Adding F word.
One does not simply walk to fucking Mordor.
Walk into fucking Mordor.
Not fucking walk into Mordor.
You have my fucking act.
Don't tell the fucking elf.
When I upload this show to Buzzsprout, I have to check a little box if there's explicit material in it. That episode might get us kicked off.
This conversation might get
what do we have? More fucking lambda.
More fucking fucking precious.
Fucking Sauron.
Oh man, so much
fun. No, we can't hide the fucking ring here.
No, Luke, I'm your fucking father. Yeah, this is definitely one that could get carried away.
I love you. I fucking know.
I fucking know.
I used to wander the neighborhood, riding bikes, playing football. That's what my summer was.
Yeah, but that was in the the cow fields of North Carolina. That's
wow.
It's not the urban jungle of Philadelphia.
They have parks.
They have a Parks Casino.
No, we have a Parks Casino up here. Did I tell you that tonight's project sucked?
Tonight's project?
Oh, our
coming up with the cast for the Lost Boys?
Yeah, it's a struggle.
I actually came up. This is probably the quickest I ever came up with a cast.
Really?
I had to do fucking research because I don't know kids actors.
Yeah, I don't know them either.
That's where I got stuck. I
had 2 or 3 days worth of research here going.
Would have been even worse if it was like the Goonies or something.
Oh, good God! I would have said no. We said no. We're not recasting Goonies. Goonies should never be recasted.
I was pulling for Dick Tracy, but It in the final Twitter vote, like Lost Boys was 71% vote or
Ooh,
something. So
Wow.
Jesus.
we can also put it like this way. Like I just found out recently that there is a reboot in the works for
Yeah.
like 2027 or something like that.
Yeah, which made it
So,
hard
like-
to find, people that, stuff about rebooting, recasting this fucking movie.
Yeah.